there, straight black proud brothers and sisters. It's your brother DC Radical, one with a radical thought. It's the first time I've done this in a long time, and this one will probably be brief. But what I want to talk about today is the fact that we have become them. And what I mean by that is that black people in America have completely lost our identity. We have absolutely no idea who we are. We're not teaching our people, our young people, anything, and thus they do not know who they are. So, I had something occur the other day. I was downtown or somewhere, was doing some editing, and a young man saw me, and he saw my equipment and stuff, and he asked me what I was doing, and I told him, and then we started a conversation. Then his friend came along, and he listened as well. So we were talking, and I decided I would give him a history lesson, right? I asked him a question. I asked him, did he know, had they heard of Huey P. Newton? And they said no. And so I gave them a history of the Black Panther Party. And they received the information well. And we talked about the current political situation, and I gave them some quotes from Huey P. Newton for them to think about. And I just told them that the future is in their hands and that they had to take a hold of it, because if they did not, the older people who are in control now will, without a doubt, ruin their future and snatch their future from them, because they're in the midst of doing it now, right? So that conversation made me think that though it has been a long time, relatively speaking, it's been 60 years since the founding of the Black Panther Party for self-defense. With that being said, this is an organization that has, in my time, received legendary status. When I was the age of these gentlemen, they were like basically fresh out of college age. Yeah, we're still like fresh out of high school. So in that time, the Black Panther Party for self-defense were a legendary organization, despite the fact that the books of Huey P. Newton were banned at the time, or at least out of print. I'll put it like that, they were out of print. And I understand that, that was years ago. But I just found it interesting that how can our young people achieve anything of note, or do anything of note, or do anything positive, if they have absolutely no idea what was done before? So, I think about it, I'm like, okay, that should be your grandfather's generation, right? Grandfather's generation. How have these events never occurred? In conversation, how have they never told you these things? How did they never tell you about the things that they went through, right? How is that possible? Like we send our children out into the world without an identity. We send them to, as Malcolm X said, we send them to our enemy to be educated. There's a saying that, you send your children to Rome and you're surprised when they come back Romans, right? Malcolm X said that only a fool will allow his enemy to educate his children. And in the current state, the educational system is so bad in America that even white people are dissatisfied with the education system. And no amount of money that you spend, or even a private school, if it's not an African center school, none of that will help the situation that I'm talking about. And what I realize is that when I look at the behavior of our people, and these things are not going to seem connected, but they really are. When you look at, for example, this phenomenon lately of black males, murdering their whole family, not just the wife, but the children. I've seen at least 2 major incidents of this. One with a person that's relatively prominent and somewhat in the local area, and then another person I believe is in New Orleans, He had like 7, 8 children, something like that. And that did not used to be a crime that black people committed. That wasn't a crime that black men committed. In fact, just if you looked at the news and stuff, as far as deleting children, that was something you were just as likely to see women do than black men do. Black women do more than black men do. Now, you say, well, how can you say that? Well, simply the reason is, of course, the women dealt with the children more. They had more access to children. They were in their children's lives more, things like that, right? But now here we see a crime pattern developing, or at least it is appearing prominently, where something that years ago we would have definitively, like, as soon as we heard about the crime, be like, oh yeah, that's them folks, right? That was something that you always heard about. Anytime you heard about it, 99 times out of 100, it was a white male, and occasionally a Hispanic male who just, decide they want to unalive their entire family, right? Or occasionally an Asian male, really, more than a Hispanic, but they want to unalive their entire family for whatever reason. But now, all of a sudden, in 2026, we've seen prominent cases of this amongst black men. And I am of the belief that the reason why is simple. Because we have become them. And what I mean by that is our culture has been stripped down to the point and degraded to the point where our culture, the culture that the majority of our people practice, has become a funhouse mirror image of Zionist psychopathology, right? Zionist culture. Now, if you have ever read Brother Irritated Genie's book, Jews Are the Problem Part 2, you'll understand what I'm saying. Things that black people have never done en masse in 10,000 years are things that black people in America are doing on the regular. In addition to the self-degradation of using the N-word, the self-degradation of our women calling each other bees, right? To the point that at this point I hear more women calling women bees than I hear men calling women bees, being completely honest. But the men are calling themselves N-words and the women are calling the men N-words, right? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. The sexual practices of the European we're practicing. The number of sexually confused males that I come across who are under 40 is, I'm not gonna lie, I swear the percentage has to be at least 1 out of 3. It may be, and that's just people that you can just visibly see, right? Just out now, you're like, oh boy, this person's confused. With the women, it's easily 1 out of 4, right? Our population is decreasing, and nobody wants to say that one of the main reasons it's decreasing is because of homophilia, right? Pedophilia is rampant in our community. And you look at something like the D4 VD case, David case, and they're saying now that he was into anime and he was into this gory anime stuff and all these weird things, and he got painted nails and all this stuff that used to be like weird, just being completely honest, used to be weird white people stuff, like this golf, what do they call it, like this golf depressing weird woe is me type of stuff that white people I used to see back in back in the 90s, right? Like now you see our children doing that. You even see our children wearing like old like groups, like t-shirts with groups like Metallica and Megadeth and those heavy metal bands and things like that, right? Like our children are into all this weird alternative cultural, white cultural things, right? That white people ain't even into as much. And you see that amongst our children. And we just lost, man. We just lost. Like, you see, the more I go online or something like Threads and I hear black women, well, not hear them speak, but see them put out thoughts. They sound identical to European females. Sometimes while complaining about European females, it's I'm not gonna lie, it's insane. And for the men, you see it, the male manosphere got to the point where the male manosphere and the black male manosphere at one point, and when it was popular, got to the point where it virtually mirrored the European male manosphere. So it's to the point where the main online thought chambers, if you will, where black people are existing, are more and more just mirrors of white thought patterns. And then you have, of course, the music and things like that just mirroring, like I said, a funhouse mirror of Jewish psychology. And it is becoming increasingly more difficult to find differences between black people and white people culturally. We have become so deculturalized, and people want to run so far away from their blackness, and people want to run so far away from their Africanity that they want to be basically white. But we couch it in things like, I'm a Christian, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm an American, even to some degree I'm a Muslim, because people take being a Muslim to being an Arab, right? And these various identities, people talking about they queer and they LGBT and this and that, and all of this means European, white supremacists, Zionists, non-African. That's what all of this means. All of these ideologies, all of these philosophies, all of these identities, none of them are rooted in our original culture or our original nature. And the vast majority of our people are lost like that. And a major reason why, I come to find out, at least amongst the young people, because I don't have an excuse for people who are, I don't have an excuse for people 40 years old, even though I see, they're lost too, is we have our stories. We've lost our stories. We've lost the connection between our generations. Our elders haven't taught our young people the reality of what it took for us to survive, and thus we are doing things that will almost ensure our destruction, right? I can't seemingly go outside without seeing some black person smoking something somewhere sometime. This is in the post-mortem of a disease that allegedly attacks the lung to stop people from being able to breathe. Now people want to inhale things that are going to cut down their oxygen intake. I see it every day. Like, to me, it's counterintuitive. It's counter to what people should be doing, and yet it happens every day, right? So that's just one of the phenomena. Like I said, the rise of homosexuality and pedophilia, the unwillingness to even address pedophilia as a problem in the black community, the unwillingness to protect our children from virtually anything, right? To protect their minds, to protect their souls, to protect their spirits, to protect their innocence. Even the lack of passing down the morals of the previous generation through institutions like church. The church, the black church, still physically exists, but the spirit of morality that the black church once passed down no longer exists. You've gone from the fire and brimstone of if you do the wrong thing, you're going to hell, which I don't necessarily agree with, but is a good psychological tool. You go into that to if you give me, the pastor, your money, God will repay you in this later on in this life and in the hereafter, right? We're going from, so we're going from that to the prosperity gospel. And we even have like prosperity consciousness where we've gone from we need the knowledge of ourselves and we're going to have to fight to defend ourselves and things like that to if we just beg white people, they will pay us reparations and then we'll all be rich, right? And so when I look at this situation, if someone were to ask me about the state of Black America, we're in critical condition. And it's even worse because the American empire is on the verge of collapse. Like, what I think is near irreparable damage is being done to this country by the leadership, because the leadership is bought and paid for by an internal enemy. It's plain and simple. The Zionists want to destroy America so they can be the most powerful entity, but they want to economically rape America first. That's the reality of the situation. This war between Iran and America is a prime opportunity for the Zionists to destroy two opponents at the same time. And they were well on their way to doing it, except for there was one problem. Iran was prepared for the fight. And that has caused, first of all, great damage to Israel and has caused America to pause. So, with that being said, the prognosis for Black America is not very good. I mistakenly thought that the racism of Trump and his supporters, I thought that would jolt Black people into a state of blackness out of fear and panic and make us be scared enough to claim our blackness, to reclaim our blackness, and to organize and to maybe do something positive. That has not taken place. I do not think, in the midst of the fact that the Trump situation is going on now and everything that's going on, I'm not sure if there's any outside phenomenon that can make us return to ourselves. I don't know what that is. The last generation, it was Trayvon Martin. They realized then, the young generation then realized, racism is still here. We're still being targeted because we're Black. Oh my goodness, somebody my age or somebody my brother's age or whatever has been killed and no one wants to do anything. We need to do something. I don't know what the catalyst would be for a reawakening of Black America. And we may be to the point where we have to just, the people we can save, we save, and the rest of the people, I believe the Bible says, speak to warn the wicked man from his wicked ways to save his life, and the rest you have to let die in their own iniquity. And that's very hurtful to say, but I don't know. I don't have any other options. I don't have any other answers, I'll say. Things are not looking good. But I just wanted to make this And this will be the first in probably a couple of new radical thoughts. And so, that's my radical thought for today. Thank you all for listening. This will start off as being for members only, and I may make it available for the general public later. But that's all I have. This is your brother DC Radical One. With that, I say be before ODA and straight black pride. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_ONE. And the Cashapp is $DC Radical1. Again, thank you for subscribing. A beat before ODA and straight black pride.